Basically, this is the third part of the video in which x is ranging from minus infinity to minus 1. So basically tan theta is basically we are finding tan inverse of tan theta, tan 2 theta basically, and sine inverse of sine 2 theta. Okay, so this is u and this is v. We'll find u and v in the following interval of x. So basically first we'll find out u and then we'll find out v, and the process in both these will be independent of each other. So first we'll find out u. Now proceeding on with the procedure for finding u. So basically we find that if tan theta varies between minus infinity to minus 1, it implies that theta ranges from minus pi by 2 to minus pi by 4, which implies that 2 theta ranges from minus pi to minus pi by 2. So basically 2 theta is ranging from minus pi to minus pi by 2, which is not a subset of minus pi by 2 to pi by 2. It is not a subset of this interval basically. So we have to convert it. Now what can be the first thing that we can do? First thing which comes to your mind while trying to convert it from this to a subset of this is that first we can add a pi over here, right? We cannot use pi by 2 obviously because it causes a change in the function which is not allowed. We can use pi. We'll apply pi in different forms, like we can add pi, we can subtract pi. We'll check which one of those doesn't cause a change in the magnitude also, and that will be applicable for the following modification. So basically if we add a pi, this thing will change to 0, this thing will change to 2 theta plus pi, and this thing will change to pi minus pi by 2, which is equal to pi by 2. This 0 to pi by 2 is basically a subset of minus pi by 2 to pi by 2, but we have to check whether this thing did cause a change in the magnitude of tan 2 theta or not. So we'll substitute 2 theta plus pi in place of 2 theta in tan 2 theta. So 2 theta plus pi, which is basically tan of pi plus 2 theta. Now if we move on to the quadrant graph, so this is sine, this is tan, and this is cos, this is pi. And pi plus 2 theta brings us somewhere over here. So this is the region where tan is positive. So basically this quantity is positive and this is tan of 2 theta. So this thing did not cause a change in the magnitude. So this thing can be directly, u can be directly evaluated to 2 theta plus pi in this range. So this thing can be evaluated to 2 theta plus pi in this range. Now we'll move on with sine inverse of sine 2 theta, or basically v. So basically if this condition will again come, theta will vary between minus pi by 2 to pi by 4, because that is tan theta between minus infinity to minus 1, since substitution x equal to tan theta was used. So now 2 theta will also vary between minus pi to minus pi by 2. Now we can use only pi over here as said earlier. So if we try to use a pi, so an addition of pi, it does come to our mind. So if we check if addition of pi will work or not, first we'll add a pi. So this thing will change to 2 theta plus pi, and this thing will change to pi by 2. Now if we look at if we try to find out whether this thing caused a change in the magnitude or not, so we'll move by the graph. So basically this is all sine, tan, cos, this is pi. 2 theta plus pi is basically pi plus 2 theta, which means somewhere over here. Here sine is negative, tan is positive. So this thing caused this change in the magnitude of sine 2 theta. This thing did cause a change in the magnitude of sine 2 theta because here sine is negative. So this thing cannot be used for sine 2 theta. Now what else can be done? We multiply everything by minus 1. So this changes to pi, this changes to minus 2 theta, and this changes to pi by 2. And the inequality sign also changed. So now this thing is basically pi by 2 greater than minus 2 theta greater than pi. Now what is the next step that we can do? We can subtract a pi because this thing will change to minus pi by 2, this thing will change to 0. So this minus pi by 2 to 0 is a subset of, I guess this thing is a subset of this. So we'll apply that. We'll subtract pi from all of these. So the given inequation will change to minus pi by 2, minus 2 theta minus pi, and 0. So this is a subset of minus pi by 2 to pi by 2. Now all we have to check is that whether it did cause a change in the magnitude or not. So we'll substitute minus 2 theta minus pi in place of 2 theta in sine 2 theta. So if we substitute, we find that this is sine of minus 2 theta minus pi. This is sine of minus of 2 theta plus pi, since minus sign was taken out. Now this is minus of sine of 2 theta plus pi. So basically this thing is basically minus of sine of 2 theta plus pi. Now if we see the sine quadrant or the quadrant, 2 theta plus pi is basically pi plus 2 theta, which is somewhere over here. Here sine is negative. So basically this quantity is negative. Sine of 2 theta plus pi is basically negative over here, and this minus sign over here, eventually on the whole it leads to this minus of sine of 2 theta, which is basically sine 2 theta. So we see that it did not cause a change in the magnitude, so this thing can be used. So we in the third subpart, basically sine inverse of sine 2 theta can be evaluated to minus 2 theta minus pi, where theta is tan inverse of x. So basically we'll say that the sine inverse of sine 2 theta evaluated to minus 2 tan inverse of x minus pi, which is equal to v. U we had already found out that it was 2 theta plus pi. Let me show you. U we had found out it was 2 theta plus pi, which is basically 2 tan inverse of x plus pi. Now you can easily find out du by dx, dv by dx, and then we'll divide both of them to find du by dv.